Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this special event. My name is Jake Rosemarin. I'm the SVP of Cleantech and Mobility at Antenna Group. If you're not familiar with our organization, Antenna is a public relations agency with practices dedicated to energy, transportation, real estate, smart cities, and healthcare. And while we're based in the US, we do a lot of work across the Israeli innovation ecosystem. I've worked with dozens of Israeli companies over the years. Very excited to partner with Ignite the Spark on this event. And we thank our event partners and speakers from the Bird Foundation, Israel Export Institute, Startup Nation Central, NREL, EPRI, Cleantech Open, the Canadian Consulate, Chevron Technology Ventures, and Schneider Electric. In a few moments, we're going to have some of our partners introduce their organizations and what kinds of resources and programs that they're providing to the energy tech ecosystem. Israel was at the forefront of energy innovation years ago, right? Produced some amazing companies like SolarEdge and BrightSource and others. And while the energy innovation space in Israel has remained strong over the years, the sector is getting less attention compared to some of the other Israeli innovation ecosystems in areas like mobility, cybersecurity, and healthcare. So we're thrilled to see new life, some new energy in the Israeli energy tech ecosystem today. It's inspiring to see so many new Israeli companies and entrepreneurs flexing their technology muscle and working to advance the energy transition. Community is so important to fostering collaboration and mutual success, and that's why we were eager to partner with Ignite the Spark to launch the first comprehensive and interactive Israeli energy tech ecosystem map, and why we're excited to bring the Ignite the Spark community closer to the North America market. So we've got some great speakers and presenters here today, and we'll have time for networking at the end. You can visit the expo booths at any point as well. And without further ado, I'll pass the baton over to Cody Norton, co-founder of Ignite the Spark.
Thanks, Jake. I appreciate it. I'm extremely happy to have partnered with Antenna Group. This is obviously an excellent opportunity. There's a lot happening here in Israel. My name's Cody Norton. I'm one of the co-founders of Ignite the Spark. Energy tech community. We're grassroots. We had our first event over a year and a half ago. We just wanted it to be kind of a town hall, get everyone together, see what is needed in energy technology. Where does the ecosystem need to go? What is one, define it. 18 months later, here we are. We're still going. We have had over 20 events. We've had extremely strong events with partners like Eon, our crowd. Our goal at the end of the day is to grow the ecosystem, not just domestically, but internationally as well, as we could tell here. Israel is obviously a small country. We feel that energy technology can not only benefit the Israeli market, but as well as the international market. So we support startups. We have sub-communities as well. We have Ignite Academia, where we focus purely on the academic side and getting students more involved. We have Women in Energy, which is a pure women's group where they have their own events and they support each other. In that. We have a lot going on with Ignite the Spark, and we continue to work. We're a group of volunteers who just feel very passionately about this, as I've mentioned. You're going to hear a lot from our partners in just a second, but just a quick overview of Hop In before I get into the exciting part of the unveiling of the map. With this platform, we're going to leave it open for 3 days. You can network through the platform as well. You can go into the expo booths, which I invite you to do afterwards. Wait until afterwards to go check out all the expo booths, but you could see all our partners. You could get registered to be interested in them. Most of them have either Google slide or YouTube video that you could learn a little bit about them as well as an about, and you could register interest with them so then they could reach out to you afterwards. There's startups there that are present that we thought really highlighted a quick little snapshot of our strong ecosystem. And while I talk about that little snapshot, might as well just pull up the map. So this is, we've partnered with Startup Nation Central and the Israel Export Institute to put together such a comprehensive map. See, there's a lot going on here. It's a beautiful map. The marketing team did an amazing job with Startup Nation Central, our designers. The data team as well, I have to give a huge shout out to them. But if you go here in the map, we've broken it down basically into 4 different categories: generation, storage, transmission and distribution, and consumers. As well, there's off-grid. So it's pretty much everything is broken down. And as you could see, there's various little, and we're having a little bit of a technological issue. Maybe we'll leave it like that. It's an interactive map. So if you click, you can come and get what our definition of an energy consumer is, and we'll break down there. As well with the consumers and all the various startups here, you could see that they have icons. So it's even more in depth where you could see and learn about them. If you're to click on them as well, Startup Nation Finder profile. The reason we partnered with Startup Nation Central is because they are such a strong team in everything they do with Finder. So that's where I want to bring up right now and invite Gael Weitz. She's the partnerships manager at Startup Nation Central. Central is an independent nonprofit that builds bridges to Israeli innovation. Yael specifically is developing partnerships with corporates and government leaders. Her focus is in Houston, Texas, and Michigan to connect those markets to Israeli innovation as a whole. Startup Nation Central has previously done other ecosystems maps, so I would love for you to hear a little more from Yael.
Thank you, Cody. Thank you very much. After that introduction, I'm not sure I have much to say about Startup Nation Central. It's an honor to be addressing this event. As the world transitions into an era of Energy 2.0, Israeli innovation is ready to partner to deliver on the promises for a cleaner, more affordable, and efficient energy. Israeli innovation stands out for being technology-based and strongly business-to-business oriented. And Israeli entrepreneurs are targeting the global markets from day one. They tend to think outside the box because they're far away from the box. And amid the corona pandemic, Israeli startups have raised $1.5 billion more in the first 3 quarters of this year than compared to the same time last year. But since we're far away from the markets, Israeli startups are working to partner with global players from day one, global players that can validate, test, and pilot the technologies and help in bringing them to market. Startup Nation Central plays a key role in connecting global players to Israeli innovation. We assist corporates and global government leaders to identify the right partners to work with in Israel and to leverage the technologies coming out from here. The basis for this data, as you've seen the energy ecosystem map that Cody showcased. We've developed the Startup Nation Finder, which is our free innovation discovery platform that maps all of Israel's innovative companies, more than 6,500 of them, with additional information about multinationals and other stakeholders. Finder plays an important role in connecting the ecosystem internally, but also the rest of the world, with more than 70,000 visits a month, half of them being from abroad. We're offering in the same technology platform and methodologies to states and countries around the world as part of what we call the Global Finder Network Initiative, now working with Houston, Texas, and Michigan in the United States and with other countries in Asia. But back to Finder. The data on Finder provided a methodology for how to look at the sector that helped with developing the ecosystem map that you just saw. The map is a result of a close collaboration with Ignite the Spark and the Israel Export Institute, each organization bringing its own strengths to the table. This map is not only a simple way to get around and get to know the sector, it's also a direct link to Finder, as Cody mentioned, the most comprehensive and continuously updated 24/7 innovation discovery platform. So you can click on the map and you are connected directly to the profile of the companies and get more information about them. You can also navigate and explore additional sectors of innovation. Through the partnerships that we're developing in Houston, Texas, and Michigan, we hope to play a key role in helping these markets leverage Israeli innovation to deliver on the promise of Energy 2.0. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Yael. I really appreciate it. And we're so happy that we partnered with Startup Nation Central on this. We'll give you everyone links to Startup Finder, Startup Nation Central as well. So then you'll be able to play around, look at other sectors as well, not just energy. And then we'll also give you a a link to the map as well. So the next person I want to introduce is Noah Haroni. Noah is the manager of clean tech and construction tech at the Israel Export Institute. Personally speaking, Noah has been a great advisor to Ignite the Spark from the get-go. So I want to bring Noah on right now to kind of share more, and what she can share more about the ecosystem as well. So we'll have Noah join right now.
Okay, I think I made it. Hey, Cody, thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here and see you all. To meet with you and Yael and all the fantastic people with us online in person. I'm taking this event from home, unfortunately, but I'm super excited to finally be in the stage where we can present the thing that we worked so hard on. For those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Noah Haroni. I'm heading the Clean Tech and Smart Infrastructure Unit in the Israel Export Institute. We are an NGO. We're established by the Ministry of Economy, and we've been given the mandate to support Israeli companies with scale up to global markets. And on the other hand, we assist to global companies to discover, explore and unveil the Israeli ecosystem. So with clean tech and smart infrastructure, energy is taking a big chunk of my work, and is very close to my heart also from the aspects of climate change and things that are so critical to the world today more than ever. So I think, and this is also a way for me to work with from energy utilities to variety of energy consumers that are looking for solutions and for Israeli solution to tackle their challenges these days. And I'm sure that the map that you just showed us would be an amazing tool, and all the work around it of understanding this very fragmented industry with so many different stakeholders and how it's all combined together. I think it's really visualized also the strengths of the Israeli ecosystem of energy tech, and also the potential for global companies to work with us. So very happy to be part of today's event and to partner with you guys, and good luck to the companies presenting afterwards.
Thank you, Noah, for those kind words. I really appreciate it. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jake to kind of share more about our other partners that are based in North America. So maybe I think Jake's having a little bit of a technical issue. So I'll do the introduction. Molly Raffleson, she's a trade commissioner for the Canadian Technology Accelerator Program, which we always look to provide more resources for our community here in Israel and how we can make better connections. So I'd love to turn over to Molly, and here Jake is.
Sure thing.
Yeah,
Hi,
sorry, I was having a little bit of tech issues, but yeah, thanks, Cody, for stepping in as I switch browsers there. But yeah, excited to welcome Molly. Molly and I actually had the opportunity to work together for almost 5 years, and she's a rock star. So anyone that anyone that's looking at the Canadian market, she's a great resource. So Molly, yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for all the kind words, everyone. Molly Rapeson again. I'm calling in from the Canadian Consulate in New York City, and we work as part of Canada's Trade Commissioner Service, which is really helping facilitate Canada's trade relationships all over the world. We have 160 consulates in the network, and a number of them are in the U.S. But our team in New York is really focused on a number of sectors, but clean tech is a high priority for us and for the government of Canada more broadly. But we band together with other consulates to deliver programming for clean tech. So actually right now we're running the Canadian Technology Accelerator cohort for clean tech that we actually just launched the press release today, but we're bringing high potential Canadian startups into the San Francisco, New York, Boston, and Denver clean tech ecosystems. But in general, we have really strong ties across the clean tech ecosystem, and we're really invested in seeing the North American market continue to grow by establishing more international relationships and bringing in more technologies to market, especially those from our friends in Israel. So congratulations to all the startups that are participating today. Really excited to see what you have to offer. And also in Canada, we have a really large Israeli community as well. So we're supportive of your growth here, and we're excited to see everything that you can present today. But in general, if you're ever interested in learning more about our activities, please feel free to reach out to me. So congratulations to everyone involved today, be it the speakers, the startups, and the event organizers. Really excited for you all, and appreciate the opportunity to connect with you.
Thanks, Molly. Next up, next partner doing an introduction here, we have Adam Duran from NREL, the National Renewable Energy Lab. Adam is the program manager and co-director of the Shell Game Changer program at NREL. That's the GCXN program at NREL. And he can provide some insight into all of their activities at NREL. So let's get Adam here. Oh, he's reloading. 1 second.
So kind of while we're waiting on the technical issues, I want to definitely hear from Adam and everything that he does. I just want to give a quick reminder that we'll be having another poll in just a second. And so make sure that you're all filling out the polls, being involved, and I'll pass it off to Adam.
Perfect. Thanks, Cody. Thanks, Jake. Thanks for bearing with me here as we work through some of our technical challenges. So as Jake mentioned before, my name is Adam Duran. I'm a program manager at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, located out here in Golden, Colorado. If you're not familiar with NREL, just to give you a little bit of background, we're one of 17 of the U.S. Department of Energy's national labs, but we're the DOE lab leader in energy and efficiency and renewable energy. So since 1977, our focus has been on developing both at the research level, but also at the commercialization level, a wide range of alternative or clean technology kind of verticals, whether it be wind, solar, fuels, you name it. NREL has had some experience working on it and supporting the development over the past 40 years. In my role at NREL, and kind of a unique feature that we have beyond just our research is we have a department called the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center, which is where I'm housed and where the Technology Accelerator program that I run lives. But we're focused on being able to build that bridge between lab research, lab facilities, some of the great experts and activities that we have here through the Department of Energy, to all of our external partners, all of our startups, our entrepreneurs, all of our technology leaders that we have here online, and trying to be able to provide that access, get you connected with experts in the field, give you opportunity to access some of those facilities to maybe do some testing, some validation of your technology, and also to get us engaged in terms of programs and opportunities, just like you're in here today in terms of networking and improving your visibility and engagement in that space. So maybe I'll just talk really briefly about my program in particular. So I run the Shell Game Changer Accelerator powered by NREL. It's a partnership between Shell and NREL, and we're focused on clean energy technology startups and accelerating your technology, getting you to market faster. And we do that by partnering startups, bringing them out to the lab and getting your technology in the lab, either for additional development, for demonstration and testing in our facilities, or working together to launch some pilot type projects so you can actually demonstrate it out in the field. So if that's something that you're interested in, or maybe you want to learn a little bit more about ways to kind of work back and forth between Israel and the United States, definitely feel free to reach out to me or some of my colleagues at the National Renewable Energy Lab, and we'd love to talk further. So thanks, Jake. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Adam. And yeah, I've had the opportunity to visit NREL a few times and take a look and walk through the labs, walk through the facilities. One of the coolest places you can visit. Just seeing all these amazing energy technologies come to life. Really a living laboratory. Really cool. So thanks, Adam, for joining us. Awesome. So next up, it's our first featured speaker of the day here, and that is Vincent, the Executive Director of the Bird Foundation. She's going to provide everyone with more insight on the Bird Foundation and all of the amazing work that they're doing to bridge energy innovation between Israel and the U.S. Yeah, very excited to have Limor with us today. So hang on, she's joining. Perfect, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's very exciting to be here, especially since I work for the Bird Foundation, who funds collaboration between Israeli and American companies for many, many years. And actually, since 2009, we've established the Bird Energy Program, which is funded by the DOE, the Department of Energy in the United States, and the Ministry of Energy here in Israel and the Israel Innovation Authority. And over the years, I was fortunate to be involved with many of the involvements of the Israeli industry, the ecosystem here. And I wanted to share with you a little bit of information about what we do and how you can hopefully take advantage of the funding that we can offer the Israeli and American companies who wants to collaborate and develop technology. So let me see if I can show my presentation. Hope you can see it. So over the years, actually in 2006, when we started to work on promoting of energy ecosystem in Israel, we've developed this map. And looking backwards, I can tell you that we've really tried to collect a lot of the companies and researchers who had a very slight connection to energy to this particular map. In 2009, we actually granted funding through the Congress, the US Congress, and later from the Israeli government. And the program began as a result of the Energy Independence and Security Act of 2007. Since then, the Bird Energy Program has funded 49 projects between Israeli and American companies, and also between research institutions and companies, with a total government investments of approximately $38 million. We're funding projects between companies who are together want to develop a technology and bring it to market, and we share the risk with the companies. Basically, the program.
Limor, really quick. I just want to let you know that we're unable to see your presentation. So if you want to try and share that again, especially because it's so interesting what the Bird Foundation does, especially with the startups in our ecosystem, how that basically gives them a boost into the US market. So it's definitely important that we'd love to see your presentation. If we can't come up, then feel free to continue, and sorry for interrupting.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Why don't we do it without a presentation? That makes life easier. So over the years, we funded many projects in different areas. And what we do, companies were asking for introductions to American companies, or Israeli companies asking for introductions to American companies. They actually reach out to us. So part of what we do is actually we introduce companies to one another. But we also have the ability to fund the joint collaboration. Projects that are selected by the executive committee can receive funding of up to $1 million per project. This funding is non-dilutive, which means we don't take any equity or any share in the companies itself. And if the project is successful and generate revenue, then the companies have to repay us back the funding through a percentage of the sales generated by the project. So when we started working on the Bird Energy Program in 2006, the market was rather small. And it's wonderful to see the involvement and the participation of so many organizations, as you heard before, who are truly engaged in building the partnership, the collaboration, and the R&D activities. The Bird Energy Program actually fits large companies, small companies, micro companies who have interesting technologies and they want to work together to bring the technology to market, they can apply to the Bird Energy program. And if they are selected, they can receive the funding throughout the process of the development. I can tell you that I think the majority of the companies who are going to be featured later today receive funding from the Bird Foundation, and we're very, very proud of their success. Over the years, we've checked and we've seen that projects receive funding from Bird. Actually, we're able to raise over $450 million so far. We've been engaged with many Israeli companies and many American companies in different parts of the United States. So bear this in mind when you think about funding and you're thinking about collaboration. We are working with all sizes of companies. We're looking forward to supporting you. I do want to mention one particular program which there is open call for proposal, which could be relevant for some of the companies who are involved in this event. The U.S. And U.S. government and the Israeli government established a program called Israel-U.S. Energy Center. It's a unique program that funds joint activities of a consortium in the United States and also a consortium here in Israel. In the consortium, there are different partners. It can be people from the academia, research institutions, DOE labs, and of course, companies. And together they work to develop technologies under the umbrella of the Energy Center. So in March, we were able to select the proposals for the three of the topics in the area of water energy nexus, fossil energy, and also storage. But now we have a unique proposal, which is open right now for application, which is focused specifically on development of tools in the area of cybersecurity to protect critical energy infrastructure. And this call for proposal is basically open, and we're working right now with the different organizations to try and support them and help them to build the consortia and apply for the funding. The maximum funding for this call for proposal is $6 million for durations of 3 years. It can be extended to $10 million. It's obviously matching funds. The companies themselves and the partnering has to come up with a 50% matching fund, but it's a very exciting program that allows to fund and share the risk with the companies who are developing new technologies. So let me try one time again and see if I can find out the presentations, but nope. So I'll put the information later on the chatting, and we can actually also publish the presentation. So I wish us all a very successful networking, and hopefully a lot of good things will come out as a result of this networking event. And we are here to support you and fund those high-risk innovation and to support the collaboration between the United States and Israel. So looking forward to working with you again. And thank you, Atena, and also the Ignite the Spark for the wonderful work you're doing to strengthen the Israeli energy community. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Limor. Appreciate you joining us today.
Double down on that. Thank you, Limor, especially everything you do with the Israeli ecosystem. Thanks. Having a screen right now speaks to the kind of the work that you do.
Thank you. Next up, we have our investor panel. Really excited to have such great organizations involved here as well. So Jesse Techman from Chevron Technology Ventures and Samir Karoum from Schneider Electric will be joining us, and then we'll have Cody moderate this session. So Jesse and Samir, thanks for joining, and yeah.
Great to be with you, Jake.
So, love to take it from here. Thanks, Jake. So maybe we'll start with some introductions. Jesse Techman, he's the venture capital investment manager for Chevron Technology Venture, and then we also have Samir Karoum, who's the startups partner vice president for Schneider Electric. Joe, maybe we'll just go alphabetically. So Jesse, if you want to give a brief introduction of kind of everything you do.
Yeah. Thanks, Cody. Great to be with you again. Jesse Techman with Chevron Technology Ventures. I'm based in Houston. I've been with Chevron for about 12 years. Came from the power sector, was a marine engineer by training. And within Chevron, I'm with our Future Energy Fund, which we'll talk, I think, a little bit more about later. But essentially stood up in mid-2018 in thinking about carbonization trends and also the energy transition and how all this fits together with oil and gas and the broader energy complex.
Awesome. Samir, take the floor.
Hi everyone, very happy to be here. Samir Karoum, so I'm part of Schneider Electric, and I'm part of a team called Innovation at the Edge. And basically, this team is in charge of building up the portfolio of offers of Schneider for the next decade, and also accelerating the speed of innovation by connecting the company through the most innovative ecosystem in the world. So we have some presence in US, China, Europe, and a dedicated team for Israel. And we cover mainly 3 practices. So investment through Schneider Venture. We have an incubation practice as well, and a partnership practice. Nice meeting you all.
Right. Samir, maybe we'll start with you, because you did talk about it, how you do have Doron and his team here. We've done previous, you had Schneider speak at previous events. With Bartholomew, whenever we partnered with Startup Nation Central again and their Industry 4.0 community. As you kind of have a little foothold here already, what advice do you have for those looking to enter the Israeli market and work with startups here? Maybe do you have any experiences that are both either negative or positive, and advice that you would have for individuals that are looking to partner with startups here?
Okay, so actually the type of engagement that we have is diverse. So we had some direct investment here. We have recently invested in Clarity, a great startup in cybersecurity. And we have also invested in Growth Venture. That is a fantastic vehicle for us to better engage with early stage startup. So what we have seen so far is that when we engage with Israeli startup, what we feel and what we observe is that they are open, quite transparent, and extremely straightforward. And those are values that we consider are exactly ours. So if people share those kind of values, I think this is a great place to engage in this ecosystem. And from our standpoint, people should not change anything. Those are values that we really stick to. So very happy to continue to work here.
Jesse, do you see, because as of now, definitely we haven't seen Chevron Venture Technologies in Israel yet, but do you see any similarities between the Israeli ecosystem and other ecosystems that you can maybe compare and contrast?
Absolutely. I was in Israel in September of last year. It seems like a million years ago, of course, the way things are now. But I was impressed by just the density of the startups and really strong entrepreneur teams. I think that the way that Israeli entrepreneurs think about scale is impressive. And I think that the ecosystem that's cropped up around the startup ecosystem is extremely helpful, both from incubators, accelerators, increasing amounts of capital coming in to the country and also sitting in the country, as well as government support. And then, of course, have to make a shout out to Startup Nation Central and what they've done to essentially unify the startup community and tie it all together and make it readily accessible to stakeholders and investors who want to have a look inside of Israel. The similarity, I think, in the US is Houston, as a matter of fact. I think we're, as far as energy tech's concerned, especially future energy tech, I think we're at very similar stages in our journey. Of course, Houston has a long history in energy. We're the energy capital of the world. But what we're seeing in Houston that's similar to Israel is that we have now at least 3 incubators and accelerators. We have more capital starting to come in. Most recently we had Greentown Labs from Boston, who we're proud to support. They came in and established a presence in Houston. We've converted an old department store called Sears. Now it's almost finished being converted into an incubator. building, and it's beautiful. And so it's just this combination of infrastructure, ecosystem support, all of it coming together. And then, you know, Startup Nation also is starting to spread its wings into the US. So Houston Exponential, one of our acceleration organizations in Houston, is now partnered with Startup Nation, essentially port that database over to Houston and help us map our own innovation ecosystem. So that's been a huge step. And then on top of all that, it's the people. In Israel, you have just as I mentioned, a great group of entrepreneurs who have typically come up through the military and understand what it means to move people and equipment in a really scaled way. And that translates very well into what they do with their startups and how they think about global scale of their technologies. Houston, similarly, a lot of people, engineers, scientists, commercial people from the oil and gas world typically, who innately understand large scale, large dollar projects, and they're extremely comfortable, not only with risk, but how to think about risk, how to manage it, and how to move forward in the face of risk.
No, I agree. It's definitely, I mean, I would say it's the scalability of companies that is obviously like most attractive and where they are. And it's also a mentality. And I think it's because we are a small country that we have this extra culture where it's such a melting pot that creates this beauty within the companies here and the office culture and just overall mentality. Maybe we'll send it back to Samir really quickly. So what's the benefit of a startup partnering with a corporate such as Schneider? Why wouldn't Schneider or a similar corporate, you know, push the company aside and just copy their technology? Obviously, you know, that might be a concern.
So it's a great question. Actually, for us, connecting with startup is about bringing the best technology at the best speed. And from the startup standpoint, energy sector is not an easy one. And having a great technology, they can benefit from a corporate to have a faster access to market that will support them to have an acceleration in their growth, and it will be something that will be on the top of just investment, customer access and market access. And for us, as speed is a key factor, having the best technology and either using it as a customer or integrating them in our solutions or selling them and bringing them to our customers, for us is the value that we are looking for. And copying what already exists from the best technology, for us, is just a waste of time. So the best interest for both parties is to add for each one his strength and to go together into the market.
Awesome. I mean, I definitely, on top of that, I think it's looking for Patient Capital and the right partners, investors to then move forward. Jesse, you did mention it earlier, and so I do want to kind of backtrack. I don't want to skim over this. With the Future Energy Fund, it was established in 2018, where Chevron was one of the first to acknowledge, you know, climate change, but also there can be some hesitancy with working with maybe a name of that, you know, the clean energy companies. You know, what are the benefits, and maybe share more, you know, about the Future Energy Fund.
Yeah, good question, Cody. I have to say, I don't really see the hesitancy. I mean, I think it starts with if you're smart and truly thoughtful, I think that goes through to startups and their founders. And I think they can very quickly see through, you know, whether you're just sort of skimming the surface on how you're thinking about their space. So it really starts there with that personal connection. But from a corporation standpoint, Chevron has a very long history of being a partner of choice through all our stakeholders, from partners to suppliers to the communities in which we work. And that carries a tremendous amount of weight in terms of the relationships that I've developed as part of this fund. I would say also that, you know, CTV itself, we have a 21-year history, not just in venture investments, but also in project execution and understanding where the pain points are in scaling this technology. And then I'd say what the entrepreneurs that we work with can really benefit from is just Chevron's broader capability set. I mean, for over 100 years, we've been a corporation
It seems like Jesse might be having some connectivity issues.
I don't want to harp on this too much, but we understand scale. Okay. Well,
nope, I think you're back. I think you're back. Okay. I think we have you now.
Good. Well, sorry about.
So maybe, well, Jesse has some connectivity issues in resolving that. Whenever he joins back in, I'll definitely love to have him continue. But thank you, Samir. A lot's happened, obviously, in the past year. 2020 has been challenging on multiple levels. What do you see kind of in the energy tech industry, or energy industry as a whole, the transition, as we're seeing people change their patterns, their life habits, everything like that? So how do you see the industry changing? And then where do you also maybe suggest energy tech companies to adapt following COVID-19?
So it's a great and complex question at the same time. So
yeah,
if we look at the past 12 months, the COVID pandemic has touched somehow every human activity and every industry. So what we have seen during this period still is that providing reliable and safe electricity supply was considered as a crucial element to support critical assets such as hospital and data centers. So I think that the energy space has been really considered as something that is crucial in a pandemic or non-pandemic world. So this is the first takeaway. Then, if we look at the next coming 12 months, I would say that the situation it depends on the time horizon that you consider. If you consider long-term time horizon, I think that the energy transition is happening. Nobody is questioning that, and the energy tech players will have a great role in this long-term transition. If we look at very short-term, the energy tech is a very heterogeneous cohort. So you might have companies that are at different development cycles. Some companies will be software, other hardware. They might not address the same problem of the energy equation. So it's very difficult to have a statement that will be working for everyone. But if some of them are facing some kind of slowdown due to the post-COVID era, I would say every company, and startup or not, will tend to try to protect the cash. And I think this is just, I would say, the business basic rules. But this, I would say, phenomenon or short-term phenomenon is not jeopardizing the prospect for the medium term.
Awesome. Jesse, I definitely want to give you the opportunity to continue your thought and sharing more before you got cut off.
Yeah, and it ties to Samir's answer in this post-COVID environment. You know, my advice is to get more bandwidth to all entrepreneurs. So I apologize for that. But I think where I left off in terms of working with CTV, working with Chevron and our fund, is that, you know, one thing that we understand innately through our long corporate history is how to scale, you know, how to build out supply chains, how to understand supply and demand fundamentals, how to work within a big corporation. You know, I was fortunate enough to be around, you know, before my Chevron days, kind of in the clean tech 1.0 period. And, you know, I saw a lot of the early thinking about how to enter the power value chain from the startup perspective. And I think there was, in those days, an education process going on in terms of the sales cycles, the adoption cycles, how to sell into things like utilities and other big or large organizations. And so I think within Chevron, you know, obviously we live that every day. We've got that long history of building out these types of scaling supply chains and activities and projects. And so I think that that's what we really bring to the table when we work with our portfolio.
So maybe let's keep it on you. I think this is a question that, in general, almost every event that I get the opportunity, I kind of ask this. How do we attract in Israel more venture money? How do we get more people to set up like these CVCs, VCs to have interest in Israel? Obviously, it's on their radar, but you're not. I mean, there was, as Jake mentioned in the beginning, there's been a bit of a gap in terms of companies coming out of Israel. So how do we attract more money, basically?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, part of it is the COCO strategy. Keep on keeping on. I think that in Israel, you are doing a tremendous job of telling your story and getting it out there, but also building great companies with great teams behind them. I think, you know, the crux of your question though is how do you really start getting capital into the country? I think it's a two-pronged approach. I think first of all, I'm hopeful that we'll see more capital that's already sitting in Israel that's focused on the space. There's already a number of great firms that I've become acquainted with. Just hope to see more of that. And then keep getting the story out to the capital providers and the rest of the world. I think part and parcel with that is, you know, from my perspective, we're a corporate venture capital team, and you know, there's constraints on every team in terms of thesis and terms and conditions and how they operate. But to the extent that we can see standard terms, I think it's pretty helpful. I've come across a few instances where I see money being raised essentially piecemeal from individual investors rather than a syndicated fashion. That's frankly a little bit harder place for us to play. We typically like to wait for a consolidated round where we see a syndicated group coming in with a lead investor and sort of a validation, a price setting event on the investment round. That's extremely helpful. It really accelerates how we can look at a deal and how quickly that we can evaluate a deal. So I think that's important. But other than that, I mean, there's no advice I can give to somebody that's already, I think, doing it right. You know, it's just as I mentioned before, it's just a great ecosystem, really strong, thoughtful people, really concerned with the world as we know it and how to scale into that world.
Got it. So are there any interesting topics in energy technology that you're finding super exciting right now? Any new market trends, any specific verticals that you're interested in?
Plenty, actually. Maybe to name a few. In the energy tech domain, we are looking at several spaces. One is all the topic related to how to overcome the DER and renewable intermittency. So it can be energy storage, but it can be also every software or AI that helps better scheduling or orchestrating energy. It can be every technologies that helps optimizing the assets, such as microgrid assets or DER assets. It can be new business models related to energy as a service, or if I look at the grid space, everything that helps building smarter grids.
All right, thank you. We'll definitely have a few companies coming up just after this that definitely touch on some of those points. Jesse, I want to turn the same question over to you. Any thoughts on the landscape and the verticals that you're particularly interested in?
Yeah, so it's been a tremendous 2 years from my vantage point. You know, having seen sort of the first iteration of the future energy space and now where we are, I think there's a couple of things. Before we get to the spaces, the ecosystem, I think, has been really helpful, right? It used to be you'd see a lot of business plans that essentially would violate a lot of the basic laws of thermodynamics. And so it was pretty easy to sort through the wheat from the chaff. And now what you have is universities, business schools, accelerators, all really working closely with these entrepreneurs to tailor their message, to button down their message, to communicate out what they're trying to do. Also business models that are making a lot of sense, and you really get a sense that they can execute on them. In terms of spatial considerations, you know, the last 2 years we've seen a tremendous migration of interest toward the decarbonization, the low carbon economy, CCUS, and I would say all components of CCUS, the capture, the sequestration, the use of carbon, the building out of value chains related to that carbon. And of course, part and parcel with that is renewed interest in the hydrogen economy, both blue hydrogen economy, which is fossil fuel-based hydrogen, where the ultimate CO2 is sequestered or used, and then the green hydrogen economy, where you're essentially splitting water with renewable power inputs to take out green hydrogen. We're seeing that in a lot of levels. Investment, of course, we're seeing it in technology. People are advancing electrolyzers. China, especially with alkaline, driving those cost points down. Europe and the US with PEM electrolyzers, really starting to show a path toward commercialization at scale. But also in terms of the value chain, we're seeing some pretty big bets, things like hydrogen corridors, where you're targeting the use of renewable energy toward green hydrogen, and you're doing it at the gigawatt scale, and you're thinking about what's involved in that value chain, from the powering of the process to the transportation of generation and transportation of the hydrogen, and also where that hydrogen would end up. So there's certainly a lot on the back end with the market development side of the hydrogen economy. The renewables are also tying in heavily to CCUS. From a negative carbon standpoint, we're seeing a lot of progress toward how to think about sort of a new paradigm of how to think about renewables as a zero carbon power supply to these hydrogen and CCUS processes. So that's a trend which is really, I would say, developed and gotten a lot of momentum in the last 2 years.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, we're running out of time right now. But with the Jewish, well, obviously a turbulent year globally, and the Jewish New Year approaching, and kind of the celebration of that, maybe let's end on that. What do you kind of see for the next year? What are you excited? Just give us something exciting for either your organizations, yourselves. Just let's end on a happy note.
Who first, Cody?
So you want me to start first? I would say, especially for Ignite the Spark, I think everything that we're doing, and especially with the startups that are going to be coming up next, the energy tech landscape that's going to be, that is published now, that's up on our website, that's on SNC's website, that we see one of these startups. One of the things that I always say for our organization is it only takes one of these startups to really kind of change the world. These are technologies that have significant impact. And if we can support them, obviously it takes a lot of them to work together. So to create this larger energy tech ecosystem. So that means us working together, us figuring out a way to be connected and stay within the ecosystem and support it. How about you, John?
On my side, honestly, you have already a great ecosystem. I don't know if there is an index that measures the number of successful startups per square meter, but I'm sure you will be on the top of the list. We have always uncertainty in the future, but for me, the best way to mitigate that is a great collaboration framework, and I'm looking forward to continuing to collaborate with all those tremendous startups that you have here, and we have already a great pipeline of partnership, more than 60 here in Israel, and happy to see how we can grow it.
Awesome. Jesse, take us home.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting, and I have to say that, and this might surprise our listeners, but I'm incredibly optimistic. This COVID pandemic has been an extraordinarily tough time for society at large, but I think that there have been some bright spots that are changing the way we work. I think that the net result of this is that we're going to become much more interconnected. From my own experience, just working at home for the last 6 or 7 months, I'm just floored by how many people I've been able to connect with in such a rapid fashion. I mean, it's just developed into this cadence of one meeting after another, which, on the one hand can be exhausting, but on the other hand, it just sort of amplifies this connectivity. And so I think that we're all starting to get used to it, and I think that we're starting, and we will become hyper efficient at this, and it'll change the way we work post-COVID, obviously. But in the meantime, I think this increased connectivity will lead to stronger relationships. It's already led to more comfort with working with partners and potential investees whom we've actually never even met in person. Would have never done that before COVID, but I think what entrepreneurs can take out of this is that it just creates this new level of access, both to partnerships and of course capital, which I think is truly unprecedented. So I'm very optimistic about the types and quantity and quality of deals that are going to happen going forward.
Lots of big things coming up with all of us. Gentlemen, I want to thank you both for taking the time out of your days. I really appreciate it. Great insights, the work that you do, and the future partnerships that we'll see with startups within our ecosystem, the ecosystem as a whole. I'm extremely excited for, and I hope you have a great one. I just want to let everyone know that Samir and Jesse, they both Chevron Technology Ventures and Schneider, both have expo booths. Feel free after the startup pitches to go check those out. You can register for interest and love your contact information as well. You can network with them. Go chat with people. If you go on the top right where it says people, you can just search people, reach out to them, check out their profiles, invite them to connect, start a conversation there. So now we're going to start with the startups. So the first one that we're going to have is Adionics. We have Tanya Franco-Waxman. She's in operations there at Adionics. I want to pass it off to her.
Hi, good evening. Such a pleasure to be here. It's a real honor. My name is Tanya from Adionics in Tel Aviv. I'm going to share my. Let me know if this has worked properly. Is this right? Hello?
Yep, you're all good. We can see it.
Great. Okay. So hi. So in Adionics, we are redesigning the architecture of rechargeable batteries, and I hope by the end of my presentation, you'll understand what that means and how we do it. So unfortunately, climate change, as we know, is the world's greatest threat, and there is no need, unfortunately, to elaborate on this. And road transport accounts for more than 70% of all greenhouse gas emissions are from transport. So obviously there's a great need to innovate and change in this field. As we know, electrification is the answer. The revolution is already happening. We know countries like in Brussels, for example, they're going to ban cars, conventional cars in the near future. However, this comes not without challenges, as we all know. One of them is battery technology. Charging time is not fast enough. It still takes less time to fill up fuel your car. The available capacity in batteries is also insufficient, which causes range anxiety because people driving a car are afraid their battery won't last as long as they need it. And insufficient lifetime. Already today, we have landfills filled with used batteries. So we're creating a lot of waste. And battery structure hasn't changed for 30 years. And this is what I want to elaborate on. So as you see here, this is the standard battery architecture or structure. You have the anode and current collector on the left and the cathode and current collector on the right. I don't need to elaborate on that. However, this structure comes with its limits. For example, the mechanical stability is quite poor, which means there's lower cycle life, which means the battery degrades relatively fast. The heat is not dissipated homogeneously, which also causes cracks. And many companies in the industry are trying to improve batteries. However, they are doing it mostly by trying to innovate and improve the chemistry. So they're trying to add silicon instead or try different metals. Our solution is to create the next generation of batteries by smart 3D metal structures. So in Adionics, we're focusing on the physics and the geometry of the battery. So here is like an example of our battery. as you see what happened to the anode and cathode, they basically became one and integrated with their equivalent respective current collectors. So we've created a mesh structure. It's a porous structure. It's a structure that has much more lower internal resistance, mechanical stability. And we do this by focusing on the architecture. So at the cell level, you can see here on the right, again, the traditional 2D layered cell. You could see the black layer is the active material, and it's a layered structure, a bit like bread on cheese. The piece of cheese is just layered on the bread. But if you look to the left at our Adionics 3D structure, you see they are integrated. So we have the active material is integrated within the current collector, and this provides a much more stable, mechanical stability, and a much a better structure. Of course, it's the innovation and technology are patent protected, and also our manufacturing process is patented. We use AI to optimize our structure. And by that, we deliver better performance. By that, I mean a 50% reduction in charging time. So charging time is halved using our batteries. The capacity is doubled. We increase the lifetime of the battery, which is critical, and we lower the cost of ownership. Our is drop-in solution. You could use current manufacturing processes. There's no need to develop a new factory. We're compatible with existing processes. We're chemistry agnostic. So again, we touch only the physics, the architecture of the battery, the geometry, but we can work with any chemistry that comes. If silicon is now what's trending, so we can work with that and improve their battery even further. Because the mechanical stability of our batteries is stronger, our batteries are safer to use. And because their life is longer and they're more, you could use them for longer cycles, it's a more sustainable solution because we're creating less waste. A bit about the core team. To the left on top, you can see Dr. Moshe Elbiton. He's the CEO and co-founder. He did his PhD in Imperial College, and he managed to convince his advisor, Farid, and Dr. Vladimir. He convinced them to build the company together. And we have experts from LG and Tesla and Kodak. So just to end on a positive note, can you imagine a world with zero emissions transportation? I hope this day is not too far as we're all gathered here today for that same purpose. And that's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Tanya. I really appreciate it. I want to make sure that you go check out their expo booth after this and get in contact with Tanya. She's definitely awesome and a great member of our community. So I want to next invite up Aviran. Yaakov Aviran is the CEO and co-founder of EcoPlant. So I want to invite him to join the stage and share more about EcoPlant. While we wait for him, what I can say was EcoPlant, everyone just actually relocated to Chicago. They're actually Bird Foundation recipients. So he definitely knows a lot about the benefits of the Bird Foundation. So just waiting on Aviran to hop in right now. In the meantime, as we mentioned, and we'll send it in the event chat just shortly, we'll send you again links to the map as well as the websites, and then you could see everyone and then be able to connect with them. Like I mentioned, you can go into, we'll do networking at the very end of this, where you could just reach out to individuals as things are going as well. You can just click over to people, and then you'll be able to participate and have your own networking experience, especially because we're all so disconnected. And here we go, Aviran, as I was just running on. Here we go, buddy. Take the floor.
Wow, so many links, Cody. I all registered to the event, so I had few links that I used. So I hope you can hear me well. My name is Aviran Yaakov. I'm the CEO and co-founder of EcoPlant. Let me share my screen so you can see also Can you see my screen, Cody? Please.
Yep, we're all good. Go for it, bud.
Okay. So we are EcoPlant, and we are helping factories to produce better, to produce efficiently better, reduce their energy, avoiding an energy waste, and actually optimize their operational efficiency through air compressors operations, saving energy, as I said, and reduce the downtime in factories. We'll start with this slide. That it's familiar to many people that just open a chips bag, and I just ate at Subway, so I opened the actually it was Lay's chips bag, and half of that was actually air. So you ask yourself, what is this air? And many products in the industry, part of this processes is for instruments, and also is a part is actually integral part of the production process. So it's blowing up things and drying, and to many usages. Compressor is actually 90% of the produced products that contain compressed air. But the question is, 50%, it's a lot. 50% of that is going to waste as a result of many issues and problems that they have, leaks on the pipes, poorly timed maintenance, overcapacity, redundancy, many problems with these systems. And these problems are actually causing because the approach in the market as we see it. Factories do periodic audits. They don't do it on real time. They're using manual programming done by experts. And you have, of course, all these equipment breakdowns because you do reactive maintenance instead of predictive and actually proactive. This is a small exercise just to understand what we do in EcoPlant. And you see on the left side, TomTom GPS, very known one in the US. Many rental companies, just gave it in for free a few years ago. But the difference between TomTom to Google Maps or Waze is just TomTom is a static GPS machine or a product. So you just load the map, you just drive, and that's it. If something changes on the way, you have traffic, you have accident, you have cops, they don't alert you because no one actually feed those information to the system. It's static, it's not dynamic. Like Google just find you new, better routes, how to get you to your destination. And this is what we actually do for the compressed air industry. So we connect to those air compressors, which could be 1 megawatt, 2 megawatts. We have actually a visit next week at site that almost have 7 megawatts of just compressed air to a system. So the cost for the electricity for this system could be even up to $1 million in a factory. And if you see that 50% of it is actually inefficient or going to waste, there is a lot of potential here to savings. So we connect those air compressors to those controllers, also pull out data, hundreds of alerts from the system, operational hours, oil temperature, pressure, flow, kilowatt readings, everything. And we upload it to our cloud-based server. And our unique solution here, that we also send the feedback to the compressors, how to operate, how to work better. Currently, we work in the US market, and this is one of the biggest opportunities that we see here. You see, by the way, this is an example from one of our customers. The annual value for the system is almost $300,000. It's divided to many different types of savings. It could be electrical, it could be CO2, also reduce and prevent production reduction, the capacity reduction. A lot of savings here. We can actually quantify that through our dashboard, through our cloud-based service. Okay, and just an example of the value with other system, with the competitors. So you just install the system. You don't see those blind spots. You always invite like an expert to do this tuning, to manual tuning. Well, we do it continuously over time, and you just avoiding those blind spots. So we have a few partners in the US. Actually, one of them is actually sitting right next to me, it's Atlas Machine and Supply. We just won the Bird Foundation grant, which has helped us a lot for our partnership. Now we are actually collecting a new customer to our portfolio. You see here, few of them is for food and beverage industry. Also got a few grants from the Israel Innovation Center. And very excited for this partnership. You can see here next to me, Nate, you can say hi.
Hey, everybody.
So we developed the business in the US. For us, we have a few things that could be very interesting for you guys. So first, we're looking for new partners in the US. It could be consultants, it could be distributors. We also look for investments always. We have an open round that we are about to close, so you can join us if you want more details. You can ask me or get the information from Cody or Eshel. It would be great, to have you with us on board. And this is just a few examples for our it's a real life data that we identified the leak in the factory. Actually, was during the 4th of July shutdown. After just 2 days, we saw that there is a big leak on the factory. We analyzed that. We estimate it quantified how much money it costs to the factory. And our system now, we're going to actually to move to the operation level. We will also operate the compressors better to minimize the effect of this leak to the system. I don't want to get into detail with this case studies, but we have many case studies and many customers. We already saved a lot of money and reduced the CO2 emissions. And we have a strong theme. I think our strength here is that we are very diverse here, and we bring a lot of experience on the compressed air industry. I came from SAP, so I'm more information system and coming from the sales background. My father is one of the co-founder. He's a compressed air industry expert, did hundreds of energy audits. Yaron is a friend from high school, machine learning and development. We have Nir that is a former VP of in SAP and also NICE systems, and also other people from GE and ISCO. So it's complex from industry experts, machine learning and data driven, and of course SaaS sales. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Here my email and phone number. And again, we're looking for new partners in the US and the North American market. Of course, also customers. If you have a factory, medium factory, so we'd be happy to to do the assessment, the qualification, and also, as I said, also new partners. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present.
Awesome, everyone. Thank you so much. Happy that we could have you on. But I could definitely speak to it. And you could kind of see it even when everyone's speaking right now about, and I mentioned before about that it's all about community here. It's about the culture. As he mentioned, his father's on the team, a high school friend. It's a small country, and so that's where you're able to get everyone that you can trust, and you can build a really strong team with highly qualified individuals. I want to invite Nir Zohar to join us on stage. Nir is the CCO of Chakra Tech. So I want to have him be able to come on and share more about Chakra Tech and everything that they do.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to speak in front of you. I'll share my screen. 1 second, please. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yep, we're all good. Maybe go full screen so everyone can see. And there we go.
Okay, thank you, everybody. My name is Nir from Chakra Tech. I'm one of the 3 co-founders. Chakra Tech is enabling boosting e-mobility anywhere. We want to replace the experience on the left side with this on the right side. Now, the EV revolution is already here. It's in the fast lane, and we see it all around us. And there are 3 factors for mass adoptions. The first one is the price. The price should be at least the same as the internal combustion engine car. The range, 400 kilometers and above, is acceptable for the capacity of the battery. And the charging time. Charging time should take 15 minutes and below. and not like we are used today that are very long. So one of the key factors is fast charging, and we are dealing with enabling fast charging anywhere. Just to give you an example how fast charging looks like in numbers, let's take a typical charge of watt-hours. With 50 kilowatts, you get about 300 kilometers. Now, if you have a grid connection of 25 kilowatt, it would take you 2 hours to charge your car, which is not acceptable. If you would like to charge it in 10 minutes, you have to have 300 kilowatt, which is not available wherever you like it. This is the reason why, for example, you won't find a fast charger here exactly where you need it, where you're going a long way, you're out of fuel, out of electric fuel, and you want to recharge your car. So the solution is to add local energy storage to the charging point where you want to boost the grid. We have something very similar at our homes, just to explain you the concept of it. And this is our flush tank at home at the toilet. It's exactly the same functionality. We need a lot of water current to flush our toilet, but we don't have it. So what are we doing? We are charging slowly our tank, our capacitor. We store it to the time and place when we need it, and then we release it fast for use. This is the principle of our technology. Now, talking about technology, what I've told you till today, you can do with any battery. But this is our asset. We have developed a kinetic charging technology. You can do kinetic charging anywhere. Our battery is a kinetic battery. A kinetic battery has unlimited charge cycle, degrading like a chemical battery. You can run it for 200,000 and more cycles, as opposed to a regular battery. It's not chemical, therefore it's sustainable, and this has a long lifespan. And it's optimized for charging application because it has a high C rate, and in terms of car charging, a high C rate is C rate 4. You discharge the battery in 50 minutes and flush the energy. This is an example how another advantage of our technology, it has superior environmental advantage since it's not a chemical. It's done by a research. Our carbon footprint is 23 times smaller than lithium ion, and we're very proud of it. Okay, now it's talking about the story. We already have some foots and boots on the ground. We have two systems about the same application technology. One of them at the bottom right picture is in Vienna in Austria with the local utility Wien Energie. The other one is with the Skoda OEM car manufacturer in Prague. Both of them the same application. They need to charge at location where they don't have enough power. We are boosting the power, and the reason it's our technology and not a battery technology, because of the multiple cycles. If you recall the example of the flush tank, imagine it's a public toilet. You need to do a lot of flushes per day, and this is exactly our sweet spot. In addition to those announced a couple of months ago, our cooperation with Blink Charge in the US, and 2 months ago we did, in addition to those outdoor system, also an indoor system at Premier Inn. It's a UK hotel chain, and there we have an indoor system inside the hotel, which will go actually live. The hotel is going live at the beginning of October, and we're very proud to have also an indoor system and also the first system in Germany. Our roadmap to be a more dense system with more power in a less volume and less price. You need to understand this technology is a complex technology. We developed it in the last 6 years, and now we are in the stage of design for cost reduction and for mass production. And this is a preview on our product modular roadmap. We are more than just energy storage. We have an application stack on top of our platform. The first application is fast EV charging, but we have built inside an energy management system. And actually, we are right now involved with our technology in an energy management system project where we also communicate with VPP to offer a virtual power plant. Of course, we can do also power backup with our system, which we have done in the hotel. For example, in addition to charging cars, we are also offering UPS or backup power for the elevators. and the indoor configuration is, as I said, in the hotel. We were founded at 2013. We are 3 founders. We serve together in the same technology in the Israeli army. We are about 20 employees. We won a lot of prizes. One of them is the NREL prize in 2018. And we invite you to join the ride. We are looking for projects, for partners, representatives, and as we speak, we are starting right after the holidays. We're starting our next investment round. Might be of interest to one of our audiences here. Thank you very much.
Nir, thank you. I really appreciate it. Chakratech and Daniel and your team, you've all been great supporters of Ignite through this whole time. And you've spoken at our events previously. Amazing work that you're doing. So I want to thank you again. I want to now invite up Shelly Zargari. She is the Marketing Content Strategy Manager for Gencell. Gencell's come up with a very interesting solution. So I definitely want to invite Shelly up to share more about that. You're all good, Shelly.
Yeah, okay. I have to find my presentation. Just a minute.
No problem.
I'm not sure why it's not showing up here. It's definitely open, but I'm not seeing it in the application window. Just a second. Give me a minute to get it going.
So Shelly pulls that up. I sent a message a couple minutes ago in the main event chat for you to go check out our website. So you can make sure that you download the map and ensure that you download it, because then it's interactive. You can click on each of those startups. You could click on Gencell, Adionics, EcoPlant, Chakratech, and then also Zero Energy Solutions is going to be up there. Those are our 5 startups that will be speaking. And maybe, Shelly, you just want to go ahead and begin, and we could maybe go without the presentation. It seems like you might be having a little technical difficulty.
I did exactly what you said to do here. What
So
are you
maybe
seeing?
not seeing
there
it?
we go. There we go. Now I think I have it now. Are you seeing it now?
Yep, we're all good now.
Oh, great. Okay, so thank you very much, Cody. I'm Shelly Zargari, responsible for marketing strategy and content at Gencell Energy, and I'm here to talk to you about Gencell's plans to scale up our disruptive ammonia to energy technology to power sustainable mobility. Am I getting the next page? Okay, there we go. So the world has to decarbonize every industrial sector, and transportation is certainly no exception. We all see on the road electric cars and hybrid vehicles, but the need to transition the entire transportation sector to sustainable energy is a huge challenge. Obviously, the solutions that are gaining the most mainstream attention today are batteries for BEVs, battery electric vehicles, and fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cells for fuel cell electric vehicles. The trend for small electric cars that transport people around in smart cities is going great. But when you need to adapt that battery to support large trucks and buses, then you're going to get in some problems, because the scaling up those batteries, you're going to need to move those heavy trucks is going to require a huge amount of the space of the vehicle. It's going to be very heavy and require very long duration charging. For that reason, fuel cells are a much more feasible solution for buses and trucks. But then you need to transport hydrogen to fuel all those fuel cells for those buses and trucks. And creating this infrastructure is very costly and inefficient. So Gencell has come to look at ammonia, which is a very successful hydrogen carrier. Ammonia has the highest hydrogen density. It's liquid at room temperature, and if you handle it properly, ammonia is very safe, easy, and economical to both transport and store. So Gencell has using technology to combine together the batteries and alkaline fuel cells to offer optimal performance and to fuel that bus or truck using that combination at existing fuel stations. This is a very economic and convenient solution, and by using this technology, you're going to get the best of both worlds. So I have a movie about this, and I welcome you to take a look in our booth where you can watch a demo of this solution that we're talking about, which is, of course, a future solution that we're designing and doesn't exist today. Overall, this solution offers a way to overcome the cost and availability barriers to the hydrogen economy. It uses very safe, economical, and clean ammonia fuel, which is our silver bullet. And it really reduces the cost of the refueling by taking advantage of existing fueling stations. And you don't need to go ahead with that huge investment of building out hydrogen infrastructure. And this is going to be a huge game changer that will dramatically reduce the cost of hydrogen. Gencell was founded in 2011. We're headquartered in Israel. We have a team of 80, including several space and submarine experts. In 2016, we introduced our first commercial product, the Gencell G5 long duration UPS, which provides backup power for telecom towers, hospitals, and utility substations like at SDG&E in California. Next year, we're going to be releasing our innovative off-grid A5 solution, which takes advantage of the ammonia by extracting hydrogen from liquid ammonia for off-grid installations. And you may have read that recently Gencell got investments from TDK, the global Japanese corporation, and Paz Oil and other investors, which will enable us to scale up this disruptive ammonia to energy technology and for solutions for sustainable mobility. Gencell has already registered several patents, and we have accumulated a lot of proprietary technical knowledge in both the fuel cell and ammonia cracking domains. And we are an Israeli startup at heart, so we're very proud that the GSMA recognized our A5 solution as the winner of the Green Mobile Award, the Green Mobile Glomo Award in 2019. And this year, we also won the GSC Global Startup Challenge Award for the Homeland Security in 2020. Our products, we have our feet planted solidly on the ground, and we develop very reliable power equipment that enables businesses to keep running no matter what. But at the same time, we have our head up in the clouds, where we're hoping to see, to realize soon a green energy future to combat climate change. So I want to invite you to join us on the journey to a clean, cost-efficient fuel future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shelley. I really appreciate the work that's happening at Gencell. Again, check out their booth. You'll be able to register interest. Shelley will be able to reach out to you. Find Shelley through people on the right-hand side to be able to connect with her. Definitely last but not least, I want to invite up Yiftach Cohen, co-founder and CEO of Zero Energy Solutions, to kind of talk a little bit more. Yiftach, take the floor.
Hi, hello there. Thank you for having me. Let's see if you can see my screen. Now we should.
And we're all good.
Okay, so we at Zero Energy Solutions, we believe that indoor climate should be fully automated. There's no more sense to touch wall-mounted thermostats or IR controllers anymore. We believe that indoor climate should be fully accommodated around one's needs and fully optimized around energy consumption. As you can probably understand from our name, Zero Energy, we emerged from the energy efficiency market, trying to get our customers as close as possible to that holy grail of zero energy. Now, we've been in and out many real estate commercial buildings, and we've realized two things. First of all, that the heating and cooling of spaces accounts for the majority of the energy consumption in those buildings. And secondly, that most buildings out there at the brown market, they lack the means to automate indoor climate at the room level itself. They have wall-mounted thermostats or IR controllers. Therefore, indoor climate is not automated and it's not optimized, and you have a lot of overusage in energy. So we've decided to encounter that, and we've developed the first learning climate intelligence platform for multi-room commercial buildings. This platform senses, analyzes, and automates indoor climate in every room for every end user, and it optimizes the usage of the entire building using our hardware and software solution. On the hardware side, we have an IoT platform, a climate node network of sensors and controllers, very quickly and scalably deployed. And on the software side, we have our climate intelligence, our AI, that oversees the entire usage of the entire building. We have our solution already deployed in more than 6,500 control zones globally, mainly in Israel and in the US. We're very proud to work with prominent leaders like Hilton, Marriott, National Association of State Veterans Homes, and alike. I would like to emphasize a bit about our competitive advantages, and I realize that Schneider Electric and alike are sitting here in the audience. So I would say that our main advantages lay in three aspects of things. First of all, as you'll see in a minute, our solution is very compatible. We're actually able to hook into and connect every HVAC infrastructure, every heating and cooling device there is, whether it's a centralized system or a PTAC, we're able to hook into them all and connect them into our dashboard. Secondly, our solution is really aiming towards climate personalization. And this means that if you walk into a Hilton in New York, for instance, the first time you walk into that hotel, the system would learn your climate preferences. And the next time you would walk into an hotel, an Hilton hotel in New York, Tel Aviv, or Miami, you would get the climate preferences that you like, and that would be fully automated around your needs. And thirdly, I think that our solution is able to generate peak shaving in large, complex, multi-room buildings because we understand the demand side, understand the different routines in that building, and able to automate and orchestrate indoor climate, which is the largest consumer, and by that we're able to drop energy consumption and cut the demand side. In a room, in the typical hotel room in the US, our climate node network of sensors and controllers are very quickly and scalably deployed. These are matchbox-sized sensors and controllers deployed very quickly. Within 15 minutes, the room is fully deployed. We're able to sense, analyze, and automate indoor climate in that room. Nowadays, when there's COVID, we are also adding a nice indoor air quality sensor that would just be connected to the electricity socket and enable our customers to detect and monitor indoor air quality as well. In the building, all of these climate node network of sensors are connected together, integrated towards our climate intelligence in the cloud, and we're overseeing climate, outside weather, weather forecast, and utility tariffs, and we're constantly analyzing room thermal profile and unit technical profile and customer preferences to automate indoor climate. And if there is a BMS, we're able to hook into that as well. For instance, at the Crown Plaza in Springfield, Illinois, that's our first deployment in the US almost 3 years ago, the 500-room complex that you can see here in the dashboard was deployed very quickly within 2 weeks. And they used to pay around $1 million in energy consumption, and now they're paying $150,000 less. And you can see the impact on the demand side that we're also having. Our business model is climate as a service. Everything today is as a service today, so why not climate? We're charging a monthly fee with no capex, and our customers are getting climate automation to get their end users satisfied. We're minimizing their staff workload by predictive maintenance, and we're enabling climate personalization for their guests and users. And our system is also saving energy, obviously, between 25 to 45% of room energy consumption, so it actually pays for itself. Nowadays, we're adding indoor air quality detection and the capability to ship and deploy, to do a self-deployment of our solution with no outside interference. The US market is our target market, and we are mainly targeting senior living facilities and hospitality management groups. We have an office in New York with a team working out of New York towards the States, and we have distribution channels at the Midwest. We've been fortunate to get funding from both BERT grant and NYSERDA, and we're working with large prominent entities, National Grid, Con Edison, and Pring, to perfect our solution even better. Once again, we believe that indoor climate should be fully automated. There's no sense in having any more wall-mounted thermostats or IR controllers. Everything should be fully automated around one's needs. Thank you very much.
Mira, thank you. I appreciate the contact in the background. Amazing job from all our startups. So I want to obviously thank EcoPlant, Adionics, Chakratech, GenCell, and then Zero Energy Solutions, just right now. Amazing job, all of you. I really appreciate it. You guys are a testament to our ecosystem. Jake, before we kind of move on just a little bit networking, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, well, again, want to echo that the sentiment. Great job to the presenting companies. So glad you're all able to join us, and encourage everyone on the line to follow up with all of the presenting companies and speakers, and everyone's got great insight and is working on really interesting projects. So definitely take advantage of the networking tools on the Hopin app. Something that I posted in the event chat a little bit ago. But I think it's an important, when you ask the question, Cody, what are you excited about in the year ahead, right? And I think that really stood out to me was this idea of, we're starting to see more big global energy companies, big oil and gas, global oil and gas companies, big global utilities, starting to pay more attention to what's happening in Israel now. And it looks a lot like what we've seen over the last few years in the mobility ecosystem, where they all of these big automotive players have venture teams based in Israel, and you're seeing tons of investment, tons of collaboration, pilots, POCs, and I'm excited to see a lot more of that in the energy ecosystem. It's going to help the companies in the Ignite the Spark community rapidly scale their efforts. So big congrats to Ignite the Spark on the launch of this ecosystem app. Everyone should take a look at it and use it as a tool to scout innovation and help advance the community overall. So thanks everyone for joining, and
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share a little bit more about our networking. First, I'm gonna thank all our partners in this. In the ecosystem app, we couldn't have done it without Startup Nation Central or the Israel Export Institute. Make sure you check out their expo booths, as I've been harping on the expo booths, because it's the easiest way to get in contact, especially with the time zone difference. Same thing with our other partners based in North America, with NREL and the Canadian Technology Accelerator Program. Finally, with BIRD, the BIRD Foundation, everything they do. Make sure you get in contact from both sides with Limor. Learn more about the BIRD Foundation and how you can apply for some of their grants. And then finally, the panel. I definitely want to thank Jesse and Samira for taking their time to have that in-depth conversation, a little fireside chat. Now, here's the fun part. Obviously, we're separated. We're all in different time zones. I would love to be hanging out with Jake in New York right now, getting a good slice. I feel Jake would definitely want to be here, having a good falafel or shawarma and get some good hummus. But we can't, obviously. Travel's a bit difficult right now. So we have the networking tool here in the application on the left side. So if you click the networking tool in just a second, and then you click I'm ready, for 4 minutes, you'll be paired off with someone else that's also said that they're ready. So then you can connect, have a quick conversation with them, have your little elevator pitch, get to know them, see if there's anything you could do, exchange information, make sure you write down their names so you could chat with them afterwards. When people, you could also, if you just want to continue the conversation with them, you could go find them in People and start a video chat with them and make it a longer conversation. Look, we encourage the cooperation between North America and Israel, as well as all over the world. There's a lot that we could do. Stay in touch with us. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook. You could also reach out to us at info@ignitethespark.org.il. Check out the website, download the map, get involved in Finder. The networking, just because it's getting a little bit late here, that's going to be going on for the next hour, 15 minutes, open networking, but the platform will stay open for the next 3 days. So make sure that you reach out to people, utilize the platform and everything that it does. I want to thank you all for joining. You've been great attendees, great cooperation in this and participation from all our speakers and you. Couldn't have done without you, and wish you all a Shana Tova, Happy New Year, and a healthy year at that. And we'll be in touch. Feel free to reach out, and I'll see you and probably run into you at the networking.
Awesome. Thanks.